Start the clock. The next question, the member for Eglinton Lawrence.
Thank you, Speaker. My question is for the Associate Minister of Auto Theft and Bail Reform. Every day we hear more stories about crime in our communities. Apropos the Minister's comments, families are worried. Parents fear for their children's safety. Small business owners are struggling with break-ins and theft. People want to feel safe in their homes and on the streets. The truth is, Speaker, violent crime is on the rise. Our communities deserve better, and they deserve action. It's not just about numbers or statistics. It's about real people whose lives are being shattered by crime. Victims are left to pick up the pieces while repeat offenders continue to walk free. Speaker, can the Associate Minister please tell us what the government is doing to protect our communities and ensure violent criminals face real consequences for their actions?
The Associate Minister of Auto Theft and Bail Reform.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank the member from Eglinton Lawrence for raising this concern and being a steadfast voice for public safety, law and order, and the rights of hard-working Ontario residents over the rights of criminals. Public safety is my top priority, and under this Premier's leadership, we are working diligently to keep our streets safe. We are focused on closing the revolving door for violent and repeat offenders. We are continuing to work to make investments in hiring more judges, building more jails, hiring more police officers, more boots on the ground in our neighbourhoods to keep Ontario residents safe, as well as justice resources like Crown prosecutors, support staff to make sure that our justice system is getting justice for the victims. But, Speaker, despite these investments, we can't ignore the reality of how our federal laws are failing victims every day. Too often, the criminal code lacks the strength needed to deliver the justice we expect, which is why we are calling on the federal Liberal government to implement mandatory minimum sentences, restore judges' ability to impose meaningful consequences, and deny bail to those who commit serious and violent crimes. Enough is enough, Speaker. It's time to prioritize the rights of victims over the rights of criminals. Amen. Our government will not rest until violent criminals face the full consequences of their action. We hope the members opposite will join us. Call for meaningful criminal code reform, bail reform now.
Supplementary question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to the Minister for that answer and for all you're doing. It's not just the rise in violent crime that worries people. It's how these crimes are being committed. Time and time again, we hear about illegal guns being used to hurt and kill innocent people. These are not firearms from hunters or sports shooters. These are illegal weapons smuggled across our border. Criminal gangs are bringing them in, Speaker. These weapons are being used to terrorize our communities, and this is a problem we can't ignore. It's a problem that needs action because the federal government is not showing leadership on this issue. Families in Ontario want to know what can be done to stop these guns and keep them out of our neighbourhoods. Speaker, can the Associate Minister please explain what our government is doing to advocate against these illegal guns crossing our border and landing in the hands of criminals?
The Associate Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank you to the member for the follow-up question. Our government recognizes that the real issue isn't law-abiding gun owners in Canada, but rather illegal firearms that are smuggled across the border from the United States. Right. Approximately 90% of handguns used in crime in Ontario are unlawfully smuggled in from the border and must be stopped. The federal government must step up, restore law and order to our border. While we urge the federal government to take stronger action to secure our borders, our government is also intensifying efforts to curb the flow of illegal firearms into Ontario. We're enhancing firearms analysis and tracing enforcement, and we're collaborating through the Canada-U.S. Border Enforcement Security Task Force to intercept guns before they reach communities. Speaker, foreign-source guns are fueling local crime. We're doing everything in our power to restore safe streets. I thank that member for investing in police, investing in law and order. We just saw last week 14 crime guns seized by Toronto police officers. Salute them not just when they're here, but even when they're not. We've got to stand up for our police who are keeping our communities safe.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That concludes our question period for this morning, and I recognize the Government House Leader under Standing Order 59.
Yes, Speaker, under